Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into the show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Senior. Hope all of you are having a great week as it wraps up, and you are getting ready to have an awesome weekend. Coming your way on today's show, we're getting to the latest on left tackle Trent Williams, but let's first hear from you down in the comment section. I'm very curious to hear from our audience here. What year did you become a Niner fan? We're going to have some old heads in the chat. We're going to have the newer generation, and that's the beauty of this show. We bring the faithful together. Some thoughts on the Trent Williams situation here. He has no more guaranteed money left on his contract that runs through the 2026 season. Originally, Trent Williams, after that trade from the Washington Redskins at the time, Williams signed a 6-year, $138 million contract, and right now he's holding out for a new deal. Has not reported to training camp as we know. And I think the obvious path here in resolving this issue, you give Trent Williams a Christian McCaffrey-like contract. Christian McCaffrey did not partake in voluntary OTAs. It was not because of the wedding. It was because with that extension that he signed and that monster deal that he signed with the Carolina Panthers, it was a great deal at the time. Average annual value, guaranteed money, but there was no more guaranteed dollars left on his contract. And the same can be said for Trent Williams. So what did the Niners do? They gave him a 2-year contract extension. It runs through 2027. They gave him some guaranteed money, and they restructured the deal in a sense where Christian McCaffrey reset the running back market, and he continues to be the highest paid running back in the National Football League. Whereas the 49ers have leverage with the Brandon Aiyuk situation, the same cannot be said. They do not have leverage with Trent Williams. This is already on this Niners team a questionable and mediocre offensive line. And without Trent Williams, it becomes a highly problematic unit. We've seen that over the last couple of years. In the past, we've seen that in modern day during Niners training camp with Jaylon Moore struggling to fulfill the huge shoes that Trent Williams has left to fill because he's one of the best left tackles of all time and arguably still the best left tackle in the game. And we have also seen in the past when Trent Williams misses time during the season, Niners simply aren't the same team. When you call a running play, and Kyle Shanahan designs a running play to that left side, you have Aaron Banks and Trent Williams out there. They're really good as run blockers. And then you have Trent Williams and Aaron Banks pull blocking, and they get to that second and third level, and you have Kyle Juszczyk in motion on that side. It opens up a lot of avenues to come through with splash plays. In the passing game, that is Brock Purdy's blind side. When you have Trent Williams holding it down on that left side, Brock Purdy has this internal confidence. I know I'm good. When you try to run it to the Colton McKivitz side, success rate is not the same. Brock Purdy has to have that peripheral vision as well when he drops back to throw, knowing that Colton McKivitz is not the same caliber of player that Trent Williams is. And if you have Jaylon Moore at left tackle and Colton McKivitz at right tackle, this is one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. And if you disagree with that, it's one of the worst tackle tandems in the NFL. That's why it's so important to have Trent Williams on the field for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, is there a risk in giving him a contract extension, giving him some guaranteed money? There's no doubt about it. Williams is still arguably, as I mentioned, the best left tackle in football, but he is 36 years old. And what if you gave him all this guaranteed money and after a year or two, he's like, you know what? I'm in my late 30s. I'm approaching 40. Body ain't feeling the same. I'm going to retire, but I know I got that guaranteed money. I think this could be a contract extension. You give him some guaranteed money, but because of his age, it could be an incentive-laden deal. The Niners have to know that Trent Williams is going to play for this team for the foreseeable future if they're going to pay up. Now, why are we also here? And why is Trent Williams looking for a new deal? The non-guaranteed money plays a role in that, right? But just like the wide receiver market has exploded this offseason, the offensive tackle market has exploded as well with the likes of Penei Sewell, Christian Darrisaw, and Tristan Wirfs landing monster contracts this offseason. And when you take a look at the highest paid offensive tackles in the NFL, Trent Williams is now 6th. He is more valuable than that. Tristan Wirfs, and I'm going to look at this in terms of average annual salary. Obviously, guaranteed money is important. But Tristan Wirfs of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just got paid the other day, he's making $28.12 million per season on that new deal. Penei Sewell, Detroit Lions, he's a right tackle. He's making $28 million flat. Christian Darrisaw, not the player that Trent Williams is of the Minnesota Vikings. His AAV, average annual value, $26 million. Laramie Tunsil, not the player that Trent Williams is. Houston Texans, average annual value, $25 million per year. Andrew Thomas, New York Giants, really good, not to the likes of Trent Williams, $23.5 million per season. And then you have Trent Williams coming in as the sixth highest paid tackle in the game at $23.01 million. So in a sense, Trent Williams is looking at the market. It's changed, it's fluctuated, it's exploded, and because of these other players getting paid in this offseason, Wirfs, Sewell, Darrisaw, all within the last couple of weeks and months, Trent Williams, ladies and gentlemen, is now underpaid. And that salary for Trent Williams on top of no guaranteed money left is not going to fly for Trent Williams. Now, here's what Adam Schefter had to say about the Trent Williams situation, and I think he makes some fair points, and I want to react to what he had to say on the Pat McAfee show on ESPN. He said, the tricky part about this one is you're talking about a guy that is as dominant as any offensive tackle in all of football. He's been great. He's been unbelievable. He's so good. Future Hall of Famer. He's also 36 years old, and he's got, I believe, 3 years left on his contract. And so these offensive linemen, their value is huge, immense work, and the Niners know it. But they're also in a situation where, again, I think that they've gone and paid Williams a couple of different times, and he's 36 years old. So you have to balance, how do you do that? How do you figure out a way to keep him happy and keep your salary cap situation intact at a time when the Brock Purdy extension is coming down the pike after the year? You have Brandon Aiyuk who wants money. You're paying these other guys. So it's a challenging situation that they have not figured out yet. So you think about what Schefter said there, the Niners are in a little bit of a predicament, and this is something that we know, right? You have all these players getting the bag recently and in the future. You have George Kittle making a lot of money, Fred Warner, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa. Now Brandon Aiyuk's looking for a new contract. Brock Purdy going to be looking for a new deal next year. Charvarius Ward, Deommodore Lenoir, Talanoa Hufanga. You're paying decent coin to Leonard Floyd, although you can get out of that contract early. Javon Hargrave, he signed a 4-year, $84 million deal. Trent Williams, making a lot of cash, right? So the Niners are so talented, but while they're talented, they're paying the price for it right now, and now they're in a little bit of a predicament. Here's what Kyle Shanahan had to say this week on The Matter. It was something that I knew could be a possibility. I was hoping that he would be here, but I know it could be a possibility. I feel pretty confident it'll all work out in the long run, and he'll be here, and we'll get on the same page with everything. That's good to hear from the head coach. And we talked here on this show following the Christian McCaffrey contract extension, another player who's making a lot of cash, that Trent Williams could be due a new deal. And if the Niners were to give him an extension, they can actually clear up a bunch of cap space over the next few years. I believe it's like $15+ million in each of the next couple of seasons. John Lynch, the general manager on Trent Williams, quote, I think we've got a lot of talented players and we've rewarded a lot. It does become more challenging in time when you've rewarded so many players. That's also why this is a very good team that has such high expectations. And that puts pressure on the Niners organization, by the way, to capitalize and win the Super Bowl. Because if this window closes with one of the most talented teams that we've ever seen in the history of football without a 6th Lombardi trophy coming back to the Bay Area, it's a big disappointment. It's a huge disappointment because this team is worthy of winning a Super Bowl championship and bringing back that Lombardi. I also want to hit on this. You think about other teams who the Niners are rivals with this offseason, have to talk about in the NFC, the Detroit Lions, rematch of the NFC Championship game, Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys. I think Green Bay will be good. Los Angeles Rams will be a quality football unit. Brad Holmes is the general manager of the Detroit Lions. He knows that his Lions team, after 30 years of being inept, are in this window to win right now. And he's done a great job of building up that roster. This offseason, Detroit has been highly aggressive. They've paid Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've paid Penei Sewell. They've paid Jared Goff. They've spent a lot of cash. Brad Holmes has handed out $500 million. Specifically, what has he done, which has made matters difficult for the Niners? He gave Penei Sewell a lot of money. He gave Amon-Ra St. Brown a lot of cash. And in a way, along the way, that helped reset the wide receiver and offensive tackle market, making it more difficult for the Niners and more expensive to retain the services of Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams. And that in turn has caused these two NFC powers to jockey a little bit. And credit to Brad Holmes for the competitive desire to force the Niners' hand here in trying to lift Detroit over San Francisco in the NFC hierarchy. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have you covered with Niners videos every single day that are informative, entertaining, insightful, and involve you, the faithful. Hit that sub button right now. I'm in Maine until next Tuesday, back in the studio Wednesday, and then next weekend, Niners preseason football returns, and that means the return of our watch parties. Let's go.